no that. I can't believe that Pharaoh, when Joseph asked Pharaoh to let the 12 tribes come into Egypt, he should have told you motherfuckers no. He should have said, no, you motherfuckers. He should have said, no, motherfuckers. You nasty motherfuckers. Y'all gonna eat our goddamn food and then snatch our goddamn food. You that hard. I wish I knew that Pharaoh. He should they just eat your food, they ate your motherfucker. And that's why God sucks our leadership. Because the Moors say that they are Muslims, and they historically admit that they were around while niggas was enslaved. They were the free blacks. So I ask, how come you feel good being a free black when your people are enslaved? So I showed you a corresponding verse out the Quran that says that the disbeliever is one of the worst creatures that Allah ever created. And then I show you the wells on our back in slavery. And I'm saying, as a Muslim, if you come over here in America and you see non-Muslims in a state of involuntary servitude, and you see them being lynched, and you see them being burnt and poked, hold on. If you see them being lynched, burnt, and poked, they're just creatures. And if your prophet is allowed to have 2 black Muslims, 2 black slaves, and he could trade 2 black slaves for 1 Muslim, what is it saying about the value of the Muslim versus the black man? And what is it saying about the value of blacks in general when you can exchange a 2-for-1 deal because 2 blacks can equal 1 Muslim? The subject matter right now, if you want to identify us as Moors historically, I have no problem. If you want to identify us as Hebrew Israelites historically, I have no problem. But the subject matter at hand is this. If they were Muslims, they were compromised. That's the point. If they were Muslims, they were compromised, and I can show you historically how they were compromised. I can show you having sex with the white women. And the Moors will tell you this. I can show you them here in America while we was enslaved. And they was teaching the white man how to build the White House and giving them the almanac. And sometimes they actually define the word Moor as navigator. Right? That's not true. It doesn't mean that, but sometimes they define the word as navigator or sailor because they were experts at building ships. They were the navigators of the 7 seas. That's right. And the skull and bones was from the tariffs that they put on the seas, that if you cross certain markers in the waters, it'd be skull and bones for you. All this is cool, but this is my shit. You teach the white man how to build boats, so we wind up on it, and turn later on in history, he put your ass on it too. You come over here and you show them how to build the White House, and you name it after the old capital of Morocco, Dar Bay, Dar Home, White Home, Casablanca. Only for him to turn around and in the 1700s illegally start identifying you as a Negro and the Native Americans and enslaving you after you gave them all your knowledge. You deserve what the fuck you got because you turned your back on your own people. You deserve what you got. So there's no bowing down after the debate on what I said. No bowing down. And all this information was already put into context at the debate. So I don't want to hear or see no more Facebook messages because you had the day to arrive and ask your questions. You had the day to arrive to present your case, and you didn't do it. Y'all Muslims failed the community. But what y'all actually did was confirm to everybody else that y'all really could not rebut none of the things I said. All y'all do is go online. Oh, Light don't know what he talking about. Y'all had y'all day. And y'all was in the building making noise in the beginning. And I shut all you niggas up. According to Imam Bashir, his exact words, I didn't call Ali a punk. He said you was going to allow a punk to do his thing, and I couldn't sit there. And watch this. And with all due credit, Ali got way more knowledge than brother Imam Bashir. And I told him, you ain't got the right to call that man out his name because he definitely know a whole lot more than you do, my brother. And as far as I'm concerned, I took a harder opponent dealing with Ali than dealing with some damn Imam Bashir. There's a reason for that.
Let me say this.
Probably did it online, though.
People will lie. Linguistics does not lie. People will lie. Language and linguistics do not lie. When you look at the parent language of Arabic, Arabic, which is Syriac. See, now, there's nothing you can do to change that. There's nothing Ali Muhammad or Imam Bashir, there's nothing they can do to change the fact that Syriac is the parent language, that's your grandfather language, to the Arabic. So when you look at, which means that the word Quran existed in Syriac prior to the formulation of the Arabic language. Prior to the formulation of the Arabic language, the word Quran existed in the Syriac language, in the Syriac lexicon. That language was at the center of Orthodox Syriac Christianity, which means that within the liturgical language of Orthodox Syriac Christianity, they use the word Quran whenever they reference the Bible. This is before Islam. There was no Islam recorded anywhere. There was no Muslim recorded anywhere. And the only Muhammad that would have been recorded at the time would have been any references to what we call Jesus today. Those are the facts. You can't change that. I can't change it if I wanted to. Ali Muhammad can't change it if he wanted to. Imam Bashir cannot change it. You might not like facts. You might not like them. Like Imam Bashir saying the Syriac is nonsense and blah, blah, blah. Saying that something is nonsense and proving that something is nonsense are two different things. They're two different animals. Ali Muhammad has failed to prove, and Imam Bashir has failed to prove, that Syriac did not prefigure like the jihad. That's a Christian word. Word like Imam, that's a Christian word. All of these words that you think are Islamic or Muslim or Arabic, this all comes out of Syriac Christianity. You cannot change that. You can't. If you go to the Syriac dictionary, which is online, it's a Franco-Syriac dictionary. All you got to do is look through the lexicon and read it. Just read for yourself. Stop letting people think for you. Stop letting somebody stand on the stage because they have charisma and because they have such and such and such. It doesn't mean what's coming out of their mouth is correct. I'm going to say it again. Islam comes about after Abd al-Malik and al-Mamun. And particularly, if you really want to know, particularly an Iraqi general whose name I cannot remember at the moment, who worked underneath al-Mamun. He was the one who within Iraq determined what all of the people of the Arabic regions would read. And I will give you the general's name whenever I make a dissertation, whenever I give an explication on Islam, which you will get. Eventually, I give you my word. You will get an explication on Islam from myself. And you will see deeper than you ever would imagine that you could be able to see. But enough about Islam. I'll address that later. Back to the debate. This is what I want to say, and this addresses both the Islamic community and the Hebrew community, the black Hebrew Israelite community. All right? For years, anybody who has ever read their text and anybody who has ever gone to any one of their sermons or any one of their services, it's no secret that they have always held ancient Egypt in contempt. And they have always said that ancient Egypt was this, that, and the other, was not a child of God. The ancient Egyptians were this, they were evil, they were mean, they were bad, and God hated them. That's what they preach, period. The ancient Egyptians are this, that, and the other. But now, and that's from both communities, the Islamic community and the black Hebrew Israelite community. Now, what they did not expect, they did not expect a Dr. Ben, they did not expect a Dr. John Henry Clark, they did not expect a Sheikh Anta Diop, they did not expect an Ivan Van Sertima, they did not expect a Chancellor Williams, they did not expect a William Leo Hansberry, they did not expect all of these great scholars. And I even throw my brother father in there, Dr. York. If you got a problem with that, too bad. I didn't say I'm repping him, I'm saying out of respect for my brother, you can throw him in there too. They did not expect any of these teachers to start telling the truth about ancient Egypt and the position that it actually holds in relationship to all of these fake-ass religions that were born out of it. Straight up and down. That goes for Christianity, Judaism, Islam. But now, all of a sudden, because of all of those scholars I just named, now all of a sudden, because we starting to live and personify this thing, now all of a sudden, because the truth is being known, and you got to remember, the facts don't need any help from Brother Polite. The facts don't need any help from your brother Amos. The facts don't need any help from Sarah Suit and Seti. The facts speak for themselves. The evidence speaks for itself. And now that the evidence is being allowed to speak, now that the goddess Ma'at is doing her thing and truth is emerging, now all of a sudden, there's a cheerleading effort amongst both of those religions, the Hebrew Israelites and the Islamic community. Now all of a sudden, they want to reattach themselves to ancient Egypt. Now they're trying to infuse themselves to ancient Egypt. Now they're doing what they accuse the white man of doing, and they're trying to graft themselves on, or better yet, they're trying to graft their religions onto ancient Egypt in a deceitful way. In a very deceitful way. Now the Hebrew Israelites want to tell you, and this is what they're going to tell you. They built the pyramids. Imhotep was a Hebrew Israelite, the designer of the first pyramid, which is the step pyramid. They want to tell you that and now Brother Ali Muhammad, I fell on the floor when I saw this one. Now he's telling everybody on Facebook that the HMD in the name Muhammad, the triliteral group HMD Hamid, is actually the word Kemet. So now this is what he's telling people now. You people are sick. There's something wrong with you. No, I'm not Brother Polite. I'm just gonna be straight up. And you can get at me however you want. You are sick. You are sick. All these years you've been talking about Egypt like it's this, it's that, it's the worst thing ever. Now all of a sudden, y'all want to claim everything Egyptian. Everything. Everything. I'm seeing Hebrew names on Facebook with the name Hotep. And with the name Amun. They got Yashahara in the front, and now they got a Kemetic name too. So y'all just want to be a little bit of everything. Y'all just want to be a hodgepodge. Y'all want to, what they call that in Trinidad, pilau. Y'all want to be a pilau. Y'all want to be a stew pot. Look, let me explain something to you. When you take, if my brother Polite asks me for some clean water, and I give him half a cup of clean water and half a cup of dirty water, did I give him clean water? No, I gave him dirty water. So stop trying to mix your dirty, fake-ass religions, Hebrew Israelite, and the whole Islamic thing. Stop trying to mix it in with ancient Egypt and trying to claim it's one and the same, because it's not. Stop doing that. It's not right and it's not fair.
Brother Shaka Utmost.
But what I want y'all to understand is this. When we're talking about, and this is the last time we need to really talk about this, because I'm going to tell you something. Number one, Bashir comes to every other debate but the Islam debate. And I'm going to tell you another thing. When question and answer time came for the debate, that was just as brutal as me doing my rounds. All I'm telling y'all to do is watch the question and answer session for the debate. And y'all understand what I'm saying when you watch the question and answer session for the debate. And the reason why I'm also talking about the question and answer session for the debate is because the Muslims were silenced. When I first started, they were making noise. When we got to Q&A, no one had a question for me but for Ali Muhammad. They were silenced. So I don't want to hear nothing from no damn Muslims talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about, because the day to present your questions about my presentation was at the actual debate. And when Q&A time came, there wasn't a Muslim in the building that was willing to ask me a question. Not one. But they're all on YouTube now, and they're all on Facebook now, trying to win a debate outside of the debate. You had the opportunity. And Imam Bashir, you didn't even show up. You showed up to every single debate, with the exception of the Muslim debate. The first one of its kind since we started doing the debates. The first debate on Islam officially. Well, Taoudi had his joint with Wazir Muhammad to be fit. You had the opportunity to come in there as an imam and say something. So again, all you have to do, my family, is review the tapes, the philological perusal, as it relates to the 6-point program that I created to tell if a religion can be authenticated. If it is an organic enculturation process that the people can use that springs forth their own thinking and consciousness. When we're left alone to our own vices, the enculturation process takes place. When we're not left alone to our own vices, and acculturation process takes place. Acculturation is when you adopt principles and precepts from cultures that already exist in or around you based on your geographical locale on account to you living in your diaspora having been dislodged because of your colonization. That's acculturation. Islam is part of the acculturation process for brothers and sisters in the community today. It's not something organic. I showed you, I don't know nothing about that. And I asked the brother to show me a record. I said it right at the lecture. Show me a historical record where those people you call them Muslims were identified as Muslims by the people they conquered or by the people that were amongst them. I said it boldly. I said it in front of everybody. He cannot show you a record that these are actual Muslims. And during the time, the only records of them being Muslims comes 200 years later, 160, 70 years later. I said, when he pulled it up there, I said, you're calling them black Muslims. Show me a record where they have been identified as black Muslims by themselves, amongst each other, or amongst those that they were confronted by. So,
in other words, they got to learn the interpolation.
Huh?
Was Islam forced on our people?
It damn sure was false, and all they have to do is watch the debate. And again, all you have to do is look at the philological perusal part, where I show you the 6-point process to authenticate or verify a religion to see if it's part of enculturation or acculturation. Okay, that's what you got to do. Part of the philological perusal, the 6-point program, is what? The dialect continuum, mutual intelligibility, asymmetrical mutual intelligibility, the lingua franca, the harmonious morphological code, and then finally, the syntactic analysis. This is not a game for me.
Very important.
I don't play around with this information. I don't need the PowerPoint slide to teach this information. And that's a disadvantage that the Israelites are going to be against. They are also part of the acculturation process. It's not organic. Where we are left alone to our own vices, that is the springboard for culture that emanates from us based on our consciousness. That's when we create our own paradigm.
Let me ask you this, Brother Polite. Why did you feel that you had to deal with the Nation of Islam, the Sunni Muslims, and the Moors? You went up in there and you dealt with all three, maybe more. Why was that important, brother?
I'm glad you asked that question. The reason why we had to deal with all those different factions is because, one, Ali Muhammad wrote a thesis, okay? And part of his thesis was no other religion, and I'm paraphrasing, no other religion has had the impact as Islam has, namely on the likes of the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, Ansarullah, and so forth and so on. And I also agree that we must consider the black nationalist movement as it relates to Islam to establish if Islam is feigned. This is very important. So for me, I did not want somebody to walk out that room and say, well, he ain't addressed my Islam. I knew I could be sophisticated enough and clever enough, savvy enough, and intellectual enough to say, you know what? Amidst of whatever Islam the opponent subscribes to, whatever that may be, I'm going to pry into all the other Islams so I will leave no stone unturned. And what I also want people to understand, because people are very emotional, I did not do my opening statement to attack the black leaders that made contributions, to attack the black leaders that made their contributions in our community. All right? My presentation wasn't really supposed to be a diatribe against Muslims. It was an indictment for people historically who implemented a system that in turn became the acculturation process that we know today as Islam. So what I mean by this is even our leaders were victims of the acculturation process. And again, acculturation, to the contrapositive is enculturation. Acculturation is when you are subject to foreign precepts and principles that you adopt as your own, to which extent you may even consider that it emanates originally from you, when in fact it only comes as an offset of you being dislodged and living in your diaspora on account of you being colonized. So what I'm saying is, the leaders, considering the hostile environment that Christianity proposed to us here in America, having been lynched, having been castrated, having been lynched, having been castrated, having our churches burned down, it would suffice to say we wanted something rebellious. We wanted to engage in anything that was the opposite of the Christians that were abusing us. So part of the acculturation process was to adopt anything that seems like it was in opposition to the very religion of our slave masters.
That's what we thought was the new religion.
And in turn, we made it our own. But was it really ever our own? No, it wasn't.
I say, brother, can we entertain a question?
Yes.
Good to see you, man. Peace and love, man. Can you deconstruct briefly for us, and I've heard you do it before, a Muslim, M-U, and a Muslim, M-O? Can you deconstruct it?
Yes, sir. I'm going to go at it a different route. Considering this debate just went down, I'm going to tell you this. Well, first and foremost, I don't know no such thing as a Muslim, because there's no letter O in the Arabic alphabet. So when the brothers come out with the Muslim stuff, I have no idea what they're talking about in the first place. Okay? This is like what we do, Allah's arm, leg, arm, head. That's fly. That's an English acronym. But the corresponding letters in Arabic, that would never spell Allah. And I understand Islam is ourself, Lord, Master. See, this is part of the acculturation process. You're making it your very own. And then eventually you say this is what it is originally. But that's not the case. So, yeah, there would be Muslims, but then again, the Muslim accounts of Muslims are only told by Muslims if you go back far. If you in Prophet Muhammad's time and you talking about Muslims, you're only going to get that information from Muslims. Because everybody else in the rest of the world has no written record of a Muslim during Prophet Muhammad's time. These were Christians. And all I do is ask. Instead of people being rude and disrespectful and trying to attack my family, these group of people that you identify as Muslims are identified as Muslims. Just show the record. Stop disrespecting me personally. Show the damn record where the people that you call Muslims were identified as Muslims during the day and time you say they existed. Because it stands to record, the only record of a Muslim comes 150 plus years after the Prophet Muhammad received the revelation. The Quran comes like 70 years after Prophet Muhammad dies. Arabic isn't written until over 100 years after they received the Quran. These are, I put this on the record. I didn't hear one thing rebutted when a man has the opportunity to break down the truth while he's standing next to me. All I see people doing is going to Facebook and YouTube trying to win a goddamn debate. Like I said, not one Muslim went on that line and asked me a question at the end of the debate. But they're all online saying, yo, oh, just because Polite said you believe it? No, just because Polite showed the references. Just because Polite went through the philological perusal. Just because Polite went through the dialect continuum. And he went through the mutual intelligibility and the asymmetrical mutual intelligibility and the lingua franca and the harmonious morphological code and the syntax by way of Muhammad being an epithet, which was a gerundable participle. I lived this. Trust me, if I wanted to go in on Drew Ali, it would have been ridiculous. But that's not my goal, and I didn't want to defer people's attention in a way where we would make Drew Ali a bad person. I didn't want to make him a bad person. I was expressing to the community that our leaders that embrace Islam were part again of the acculturation process. It almost sufficed for them to adopt Islam because of the climate and the conditions of that time, with us being abused by the racist and hostile pale Christians in America. So we picked the first thing that seemed like it was rebellious in contrast to Christianity. But does that mean it is our doctrine? No. And if a doctrine was not created for our people, we can never use it to liberate us. This is a fact. You can't use a doctrine that wasn't manufactured for you to liberate you when it was used to oppress you in the first place. We cannot pray to the same damn God and see that we are on the losing end for over 1,000 years and think that when we finally see a little light, we should accredit it to the very God that our oppressor had gained so much esteem and momentum from. So that's all we're talking to people about. So for those people that believe that we went out to attack their leadership, you haven't seen that attack yet. I refuse to do it because I honor Noble Drew Ali. I honor Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I honor these brothers that